so much. Good evening. Like I said, I'm Olutoyin Olaitan, and that's the topic we're working on. And let's see if I can use this or whether I'm good. Also, okay, not too bad. Right. So just the outline, I'm going to talk about the background to the problem. It's basically a literature review that led us to critical success factors. So, can be heard. Okay, thank you. Yes. Then I will speak about the context, the problem, our findings, and the critical success factors that we proposed. Yeah. So the background to us writing the paper actually is the fact that now there are many more graduates than used to be in the past. A lot more people are educated, but unemployment is just going higher. So it's an irony of some kind, you know. And so we're saying the disruptive nature of technologies as such as artificial intelligence, manufacturing, and all these things has made the workplace much more complex. In the past, you could get your degree, go to the workplace, your boss tells you what to do, you do it, and everybody's fine. That's no longer the case. Now you need a lot more than what you learned at school to be able to be successful in the workplace. So that's a huge problem. So you find employers complaining that they can't find people to work for them. Graduates are complaining that there are no jobs. So you begin to wonder, where's the disconnect there? So now the traditional skill sets that we knew in the past are falling seriously short. Now someone can say, I've got a degree and I've got all these distinctions, so I'm qualified to work. You've got to have a lot more than that. Now, and also there is a disjuncture. I'm struggling with that word because it's a big English word, I'm really sorry. There's a disjunction between the curriculum, literature, as we saw that in the literature, the curriculum as it is right now, and what people actually really need in practical terms in the workplace. So that's also an issue. So all of these things combined to form a background of students that are qualified, but not very skilled. So we used the Prisma framework to kind of go through the literature. And this is just a process that we went through to get to the papers we used for this study and how we got to our recommendations. So the problem, we're saying that the fourth industrial revolution is what is it now? It's a buzzword. Everybody's talking about it. And we are told it has the capacity to change Africa and all of that. But in real terms, we do not really see how that is working out for young people in the workplace to a very large extent. So that's a problem. So therefore, conversations about the role of higher education in skilling students continues to just go around. And also, the relevance of the current curriculum as it is, I'm sure most of us are struggling with this particular fact, especially STEM careers, you know, where you go to school, you learn these things, and then you find out when you're out of school, you need a lot more is being asked of you than what you learn and qualified in. So also the nature of jobs. I came in quite late from the airport. I caught the last end of the person I was presenting about Upwork. We were talking about Upwork, and that was about, what kind of work is that now? Gig work, you know? So now I always just wonder, at some point, am I going to be jobless? Because now if you contract different things and you are paying $100 there, $200 there, why do you need to keep a staff that's going to complain about leave allowance and distress allowance and all of these things? So these are challenges that are sitting right here in front of us. So also the global youth unemployment, according to this literature, is 3 times higher than adult unemployment rate, which brings us to the alarming fact. Youth unemployment in South Africa, according to Statistics South Africa, is sitting at 64.something%. That's huge. Then you begin to imagine that when people go to school, they're expecting to have a particular lifestyle, and then they're out of school and they're sitting there with no jobs. You know, in the past, we used to say, okay, people are jobless because they're not qualified. That's no longer the case. People are qualified, but they're still jobless. So the findings from the literature is that there's a disjuncture. I already said that. There's disconnect. I think that's a simpler English word to use. So I'll use that. Thank you very much. So therefore, this challenge leads to a state of unpreparedness for students. They go to interviews, they ask questions, and they're given scenarios to solve. And they're like, we didn't learn this at school. This wasn't one of the things that I wrote my exam in. And there are many issues around that, assessment and aligned assessment and all of that. But the point is, your young people are struggling to find work. And also, soft skills, we know this. Ideation, creativity and problem solving. These are things that are not taught at school, which you need desperately in this world. This is no longer the age where you can just work. You've got to be able to interact with different people on different levels. And those are the soft skills that you need. And these are not taught in classrooms, as so far as I know, unless you go to a finishing school. So also the concept of lifelong learning and knowledge co-construction. Your boss expects you now to be part of the problem solving. He doesn't expect you to sit and say, okay, have we found a solution, boss? Then I'm going to implement it. That's no longer the world. When I started work, that was the way it was. Boss solves the problem, you implement it. Now, boss is looking at you, what ideas do you have? So, from the literatures, we looked at different literatures from basically the first world and also developing economies, namely India, Australia, and Europe. And those are the factors that we think could be applicable to making things a little bit better than what it is right now to skill and reskill students for our economy, so that at least they do not just have their qualification, they also have certain skills that would position them to be able to get work or give them an edge of some sort than is happening right now. So the first thing that we looked at is an urgent revisit of curriculum. I'm sure most of us that are lecturers would agree with me on this point, because it's something you see, you know. So it says current curriculum must be futuristic. You cannot teach a curriculum that you taught 5 years ago. I finished from the IS department, and after 2 years, there are two of the courses that I studied had been phased out. They are brought in new courses. And I'm thinking, wow, am I already obsolete? It's not even 5 years yet. So it must reflect what the future workforce is equipped to do, not what they're doing currently. And also some interesting findings say that in the next 30 years, 65% of the jobs that exist now will no longer be here. And I can well believe it. Self-driving cars and all these things. So it's quite possible. Then 2, funding and equipment and support of vocational education and training is an urgent need. You cannot teach engineering theoretically. Students have to go to a place and see how it works. So it says the wide gap between the actual skills profile of recent graduates and their qualification is a case for concern. And we also saw that in the literature. Then there's need for strong global collaborations for student skilling and reskilling. Students have to be empowered, not only in their local context, because now people move around a lot. We are now is a world of nomads. So students have to know what's happening, not only here, but all over. And we found an instance in India where that university would send all the students in engineering to some other state to, just to exchange like that. So when they're out of school, they do not just have the qualification, they have some relevance because they've been in the factories. And also educational safe spaces where people can learn soft skills. Whether I come from the rurals, I come from the township, I need to know how to communicate with people. I need to know how to put my ideas across. I need to know how to disagree with people. I need to be able to think through how to solve problems. Those things are essential. So we noted that there's a time lag in implementation of new curriculum and the fast pace of development in the workplace. While all of these things are going through the process and all of that, something new has happened. So what you are trying to approve is actually already obsolete. So that's a problem. So we believe that the point the contribution the paper is making is that students have to be skilled differently than what they're skilled now, right skilled for the future, not for the present, not just to get the qualification and be graduates. So we also believe that there should be a strong collaboration between academia, industry, because basically they are the ones who employ, and Department of Higher Education, so that students can have more opportunities when they out of school and they go to the workforce. Thank you.